Cutting off the internet has become the go-to move for authoritarian governments that want to control the flow of information. Strongmen like this play because limiting communication prevents people from organizing and makes it really hard for reports of human rights abuses to get out. Internet shutdowns were recorded in 35 countries in 2019, according to digital rights group Access Now. That's 40% more than in 2018.
The number of countries that we've documented for shutting down the internet in 2019 could actually change. And one of the reasons why it changed is because it's increasingly difficult to document internet shutdowns around the world because shutdowns have become very specific and very targeted. So what that means is that countries no longer shut down the whole internet for the whole nation, which is much more easier to document.
Some countries cut communications repeatedly. In 2019 alone, India shut down the internet in different parts of the country 106 times.
We've seen longer shutdowns. So what that means is that, the internet will be off normally for a day to, if it goes really for a very long time, would be 1 week or 2 weeks. But this time around, we've seen countries shut down the internet for 120 days, 150 days.
People living in Kashmir, for instance, have been stuck in an internet blackout since August 2019. Kashmir was forced offline after the Indian government scrapped its regional autonomy. Even with the blackout, reports emerged of human rights abuses, including the detention of children. Governments usually don't give a reason when they restrict the internet. Rights groups find internet shutdowns usually overlapped with elections and civil unrest.
Without a doubt, some of the most harrowing instances that we've seen in 2019 are the instances where shutdowns are used to cover up the loss of life or killings at protests. And quite often you can actually correlate these patterns. So you see that when there are these killings, then the internet goes down because that story is something that needs to be suppressed. And we've seen this in Sudan, we've seen it in Iraq, and in Iran.
During anti-government protests in November, Iran shut down the internet for nearly a week. When the internet was restored, videos of a brutal crackdown on protesters started to leak. Amnesty International estimated over 100 people were killed, and thousands were arrested. Some shutdowns are more complete than others. In Iran, for example, all internet services, including mobile data, were completely down. In other cases, governments blocked certain apps and websites, like Facebook. Venezuela blocked streaming services and social media sites just long enough for viewers to miss certain National Assembly sessions or speeches by politicians like self-declared President Juan Guaido. Governments can't pull off shutdowns without telecom firms, but those companies rarely push back.
They might face repercussions if they don't switch it off. So they might be threatened with being shut down, they might face fines. And in cases we've even had where telco operators have been threatened reportedly at gunpoint. More often than not, these companies don't really have a choice.
Shutdowns can also be pretty costly. In Sudan, the transitional government cut off mobile internet last summer after forces killed more than 100 protesters. The weeks-long shutdown cost the economy over $1.5 billion. Shutdowns often happen in countries with few options for government accountability, but rights groups are increasingly taking internet shutdowns to the courts. There were more legal challenges in 2019 than ever recorded, with lawsuits in India, Sudan, Russia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Zimbabwe. But even a court ruling is no match for the governments that act above the law.